there to our 422 subscribers, our future subscribers, and all the people that secretly watch us without subscribing. And a huge thanks to all of our new subscribers. I appreciate you more than you could possibly know. And I would like to apologize in advance if I sound funny or sniffle too much. I've been sick for a few days now, so I don't know. Hopefully I won't be too uncomfortable while trying to film this video for you. But in today's video, I want to talk about the historical presence of secret societies in Alturas. Most people think small towns like Alturas just grew naturally over time, but that's not really how it works. Alturas looks like a quiet rural town today. County seat, small population, deep roots in ranching and frontier life. On the surface, it feels simple, isolated even. But towns like this weren't random. They were structured. And a lot of that structure came from organizations most people stopped paying attention to. Across the U.S., especially in the 1800s and early 1900s, groups like the Freemasons and the Independent Order of Oddfellows played a major role in building communities. These weren't just social clubs, they were networks. They helped members find jobs, build businesses, and connect with local leadership. In many towns, the same people involved in these groups were also involved in politics, law, and development. In smaller frontier towns, places like Alturas, these networks mattered even more. There weren't many institutions, so the ones that existed had influence. This isn't about hidden conspiracies or secret control. It's about influence that used to be obvious and then slowly faded into the background. What most people don't realize is that this wasn't even just a general pattern across the country. Alturas specifically reflects that structure. Alturas was established in the late 1800s and became a county seat of Modoc County, making Main Street the center of business, law, and social life. In towns like this, buildings were often designed with a clear separation, public space on the ground floor and more private spaces above. One of the clearest examples is the building on the 300 block of North Main Street. The second floor was used as a Masonic lodge going back to the late 1800s. It has a separate staircase, gated off, leading upward, completely cut off from the public space below. If you're standing there looking through the gate, you can see the symbol above the doorway. I tried to get a picture of it, but my pictures don't show it clearly, and I'm too sick to go downtown, so I'm sorry about that. But it's one of those things you'd never notice unless you were looking for it. These spaces weren't designed to feel open or welcoming. They were designed to be private, with narrow staircases and controlled entry points. And even now, stepping into spaces like that can feel different. It also wasn't just one group. In addition to the Freemasons, Alturas had a long-standing presence from the Independent Order of Oddfellows, with a lodge dating back to the 1800s. Other organizations like the Benevolent Protective Order of Elks are still active in the community today, hosting events like Halloween parties and other local gatherings. While some spaces were more private, others have always been part of the public side of the town. And in a small town, the overlap matters. Because in a place like this, influence isn't about size, it's about proportion. In a larger city, these kinds of groups would be just one network among many. But in a town this small, it doesn't take many people to create a lot of overlap. The same people connected through businesses, community, and social networks, intersecting in ways that aren't always obvious. And when you look at the town itself, you can still see it. Above you, meeting spaces, below you, basements that sometimes extend beneath the sidewalks. In some cases, those lower spaces even connect between buildings, which is where a lot of the tunnel stories come from. Some people say there were tunnels, others say it was just storage and delivery systems. But when spaces connect like that, it's easy to see how those stories start. Now here's where things get more interesting. Alturas doesn't have a history full of documented scandals tied to these groups. And that raises a question. Either nothing was happening, or anything that did happen stayed within the circles it involved. In small towns, you also start to notice patterns. Projects that don't move forward, ideas that stall out, things that just don't happen. And then at some point, something changes, and suddenly progress starts moving again. I'm not naming anyone, and I'm not saying why, but it is a pattern people notice. At the same time, something else stands out. The type of crime you hear about in a town like this tends to stay on the lower end. Rarely anything major, mostly smaller personal issues. And that raises another question. In a place where communities are tight and where networks have been part of the town for generations, does that structure actually keep things more stable? Or is it just the nature of a small town? The truth is, Alturas doesn't give you clear answers. What it gives you is structure, a town built in layers, public spaces, private spaces, connections that overlap more than you might expect, and just enough history to make you start asking questions. So maybe there aren't headlines, maybe there aren't official records spelling everything out, but when you look at how the town was built and what's above you, what's below you, and what's been closed off over time, it leaves you with something else. Not proof, but patterns. And once you start noticing those patterns, you can't really unsee them. And although I would have loved to include historic scandals in this video, the historic crimes I'm aware of have no known connection to any of these groups. That's not saying they were not involved, but that there isn't any talk about it that I could find in any of my research. But if any of you have heard any stories, I would love to hear about them. And if you know of something you would like me to make a video on, feel free to let me know, and I will do my best to research it. Hopefully you found this video interesting. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and get your friends to do the same thing. Thanks for watching. Bye.